Welcome back, everybody. We are so glad to be here again with you. And yesterday we talked about the basics of what a heart wall is, energetically speaking. Today we're going a layer deeper and we're going to talk about why heart walls even form in the first place. You know, what causes them and why does the subconscious think they're even necessary to begin with? And we wanted to begin with a question and just pause for a moment and think on this. Do you think that a heart wall is good to have or not good to have? What do you think? Okay, so you probably came up with an answer, and it's really both. It's good to have, and it's also not good to have. And I know that was a bit of a tricky question, but most of us probably just want to jump right into the fact and say, oh gosh, it's bad. I want to get rid of it. I shouldn't have a wall around my heart. But you can think of a heart wall like a protective shield your subconscious creates in order to keep you emotionally safe after you've been hurt, you've been rejected, or you experienced, some kind of situation where you felt really deeply and that was a negative experience for you. And in that case, a heart wall is good. You want that heart wall to allow yourself to heal, but it becomes something that isn't ideal anymore once you reach a point where your heart has healed. But you're not letting that wall down or go. That's when it becomes a hindrance. Okay. So again, the heart walls, they are created by your subconscious mind and heart to protect you. Okay. So think about a time, for example, where you have experienced, deep grief or a heartbreak, betrayal, rejection. Maybe it was a moment where your world felt like it cracked, or maybe it was just a smaller moment you brushed off but still felt very deeply. And at those moments, your subconscious absorbs the emotional pain and stores it in your energy field. And it registers the pain as unsafe for you at that moment in time, and it builds that protective wall around your heart, tucking those emotions inside of the wall to prevent further injury while you heal.
Yeah, let's actually use an example. So let's say you went through a difficult breakup or a loss that left you feeling shattered. And you never want to laugh so deeply again since it's ended up hurting you. And that's what you might be feeling in that moment. And in that moment of deep vulnerability, your subconscious absorbs that emotional pain and stores it in an energy field. And that field creates a wall around the heart in order to protect it from further pain, while the heart needs to heal from the breakup. Not to punish you, not to sabotage you, but to shield you while you heal. And now over time, if the pain isn't released or processed, the wall will remain in place and accumulate and form more layers around the heart with each incident that appears to be similar to that original trauma. And this can happen because we may just not have the tools or support to process complex feelings. Let me tell you about another client whose life was profoundly changed through the removal of a heart wall. And this client was a successful professional, but felt stuck in both his career and personal life. And despite his achievements, he struggles with feelings of failure and found it difficult to form meaningful connections with others. And during our sessions, it became evident that a heart wall was hindering his ability to fully engage with the world around him. And as we focus on dismantling this wall, a remarkable transformation really took place. He began to experience a newfound sense of self-worth and confidence, which permeated every aspect of his life. And Professionally, he started taking bold steps that led to new opportunities and career advancement. And on a personal level, he found himself forming deeper, more authentic relationships with family and friends. So the removal of his heart wall was not only opened his heart to others, but also allowed him to embrace his true potential. So here it's really important to remember the heart wall is a form of love. It's your system trying to keep you safe when things felt too big or too painful. And it forms in response to emotional overload when the heart has more than it can process in the moment. It can protect you from new pain, but over time, if the pain isn't fully processed, the wall remains and accumulate layers. And this is, where the struggle begins. Because while the wall protects you from pain, it also protects you, for example, from joy. It blocks connection, makes receiving love harder, mutes intuition, and can even create physical tension or symptoms in the chest and heart area.
Hmm. Yeah, it has a pretty significant impact. So I just want you to take a moment to reflect. What consequences might a heart wall have in your life? Think about your relationships, your ability to connect, your ability to trust even, or your ability to, and the capacity to let people in. How's your intuition or even your physical health? And just think on that, reflect on it. There really isn't a right or wrong answer. There's really just becoming aware of what's going on within your system. And so, what you can do to further deepen this is, grab yourself a journal, a Word document, notes on your phone, a piece of paper and pen. Um, and once you have that, take the time to just really sit somewhere quiet, somewhere peaceful, where you settle into your space, and then just take a few deep breaths, right? Take a few deep breaths, kind of get yourself centered in your system, and then just begin writing and list 3 to 5 major emotional experiences that left a mark on you. So for me, for example, one of the major experiences would be, the birth of my son. And it can be those kind of experiences. It can be smaller experiences, but something that really left a mark on you. Just list those, okay? And once you've listed those, then for each moment, ask yourself these 2 questions. What part of me built a wall to stay safe? And how did this wall protect me at the time? Okay. So for, my example with the birth of my son, where part of me built a wall that stayed to stay safe was the insecure part, the fear to fail part, the I'm going to be a horrible mom part, right? Those built a wall to stay safe. And then, how did this wall protect me at the time? Well, it protected me from essentially drowning in those feelings, being a new mom, first time mom, and, with all the hormone shifts, having then to find my way. And I did have to let that heart wall go at some point after I got back on quote unquote my feet, where I then was like, okay, I can do this, right? And so just reflect on those questions and see what comes up for you. And after you've done that, place your hand on your heart and, say something along the lines of, thank you for protecting me. I'm ready to understand you with compassion. And that's it. It's not about, this exercise isn't about fixing anything. It's about witnessing yourself, honestly witnessing yourself. And some layers might feel heavy or tender, and that's completely normal and to be expected. But you're really just here to simply notice, to observe, to become aware. And then tomorrow we'll explore how heart walls affect your connections, your relationships, your success, and even the way you show up in your daily life, and how this awareness becomes the doorway to your healing. And we'll see you there.